MJF and Jericho, what they're doing right now is gold. We don't want to see them break up.
Absolutely not.
Honestly, the inner circle, if it starts to crumble, like, dude, let the last two guys on the ship be MJF and Jericho. Can we just let that happen?
That's a good point.
I mean, that would be beautiful to see it slowly crumble around them. But those guys are so good. Like, I just love those guys together. They're funny as it gets.
If you had booking by SPD, this is how I would book it: is that you have Santana Ortiz win earlier in the Battle Royal in the show, and then yes, you have Chris Jericho and MJF. The Drizzling Shits are endorsing this for sure. The tag titles, because honestly, I love the Young Bucks, and I've said it time and time again. I'll say it every single time. They're the best tag team in the world, and they're so fun. And if you have the Good Brothers possibly spoil this win and for them in some way, I think the Young Bucks title reign has kind of been sadly a little bit anticlimactic in its sense of it started off kind of strong. It had an outstanding match versus FTR. They put over some young teams, and then it kind of fizzled out. It fizzled out a little bit. So I don't know if there's any injuries or anything like that, but this whole Bullet Club Good Brothers thing, it's cool because they're all wearing gold. But then if the Good Brothers kind of cost them, then they can kind of feud with that. And I think that'll be a nice crossover for that and be more beneficial than to continue to defend their titles. When you put the titles on MJF and Chris Jericho, yes, this is just going to be even more must-see TV. These guys are absolutely pure gold. They're going to just, be these such huge egotistic maniacs. And then ultimately, I think Santana Ortiz can take him from him either with a Sammy.
There you go.
I'm going back to when I said a few weeks ago, I think Sammy will cost MJF and Jericho their title shot or their title match. But now that I'm thinking it through, I think it's even more beneficial that it would cost him the title shot versus Santana Ortiz and MJF and Jericho. I think that would be more beneficial. You keep Sammy off for even longer. This is still fresh. He quit the Inner Circle a couple weeks ago at most. So if he shows up next week at Revolution,
I love this SPD.
I think it's too soon.
It's coming together for you.
This
as
is
you're talking through it
by SPD right here for sure. So I think, I think you have MJ. So to wrap it all together, Santana Ortiz is going to win the Battle Royal for the number one contenders. MJF and Jericho are going to win the titles, put gold on their waist, and the first gold in MJF, a perfect time. His mentor Chris Jericho, they're going to share gold, and then it's going to ultimately be cost because of the Good Brothers. Then when they do come to head, you have this ride out. You have it right. Unfortunately, I don't want to see Sammy off TV for that long, but let's say you have it right out for a month, 2 months, even ride it out to Double or Nothing. Okay. You don't see Sammy. And then he ultimately cost MJF and Chris Jericho the titles to Santana Ortiz to put the gold on the waist that we've all been wanting. If I wasn't proud, I would be powerful.
People would mark out so hard if Santana Ortiz finally get that opportunity and win, because so many people are clamoring for those boys to get a run, right?
That's a perfect booking.
And you hold off on that because everybody is expecting right now Sammy's going to cost MJF and Jericho the shot. He's going to get back at MJF, and that's going to be Sammy's blow up moment as a face. Bro, you killed it. You're so right on. Like, slow play it. Put those breadcrumbs, bro. Get those breadcrumbs.
The whiskey talking. That's what happens. This was us working it through, as we're talking it out. It makes so much sense. I think that could be, yes, the main event is going to be the talk of the town after this, but you have this bigger picture storyline of the Inner Circle, which is the number one group in AEW. This would elevate them back to what we've seen 6, 8, 10 months ago.
And it's so much more meaningful when MJF and Jericho already have the gold and they lose it. And they lose it, right? And they lose it too Santana and Ortiz.
That's their own stable.
Beautiful story, long-term storytelling, which AEW loves to do. You finally have that payoff for Sammy, and then that's the stake in the heart to MJF and Jericho and Santana Ortiz, Sammy, and maybe the Trinidad, who everybody's talking about. Maybe they start a new group, right? Like, oh, can you imagine? Like,